It's the screensaver!
Go ahead!
Month, what I'm doing is volunteering to visit the homes of all the men we know and love on the screensaver. So I'm crashing parties at Patrick's house, Leo's house, Yoshi's house. But today, let's kick things off with a look at my tour of Kevin and Dan's pad. I'm standing outside the underground lair of Kevin Rose and Dan Heward. Now, I say underground lair because they don't actually live in this house. They live in the garage. Let's take a look at their digital digs. Come on. Now, Kevin and Dan are a lot alike, but not really when it comes to the way that they keep their rooms. Ugh. So, Kevin, what do you got going on here other than wallpaper of me?
These are my main two systems. I can switch between these with this Belkin switch right here.
Okay, so you guys are sharing resources. How's that work again?
Well, we use like simple file sharing to share all of our MP3s, documents, whatever you want to share. If you take a look, this is my D drive here, and you can see I'm sharing my MP3s, which is 25.6 gigs of MP3s that we share back and forth. Also, a shared folder that is actually where I give Dan rights to actually write things to my hard drive because I don't trust him around anywhere else.
No, he's not to be trusted.
And then I can also go into Dan's computer and browse through his little personal letters to mom.
Let's do that. What is going on in here?
First thing I have is I have a few PCs here. This is actually the central hub of our network. Yes, I'm the network administrator.
All right.
Yes. So basically how he gets his net access is we run, there's a couple cables going through, going all the way around, and you'll notice there's a few out here, there's a few cables out here, and this one goes to, I don't remember. Hey guys, want a burger?
No thanks, I got my shake.
It's these two right here. No,
Dan, man.
It's just the blue.
Get it together.
I have a lot of other cool stuff here. I have a little scanner, a nice little flatbed scanner here with a picture of, it's my poodle, Cherie.
That's a big computer for one guy.
That's not a computer. That's a printer, and this is a scanner.
That's a computer.
Okay, the yellow cable goes to my Xbox from my router. That's how I get the net access.
Okay.
This goes down, this goes to his switch. And his switch is how he gets his net access and spreads it out among his network appliances, so to speak.
So, Dan, I was just like, I could maybe clean this up for you, or...
No, I'll take care of that. That stays. So...
You can hook an Xbox to an Xbox through the back of it. Take a look here. There's a network cable coming right out of the back of the Xbox. Now, if you have a crossover cable, you can connect two Xboxes together. But rather than use a crossover cable, we want every single device in the house to be able to talk to the Xbox.
Okay.
So what we did is we ran it to the switch, so it's actually part of the network. And then underneath here, I go right into Dan's room, and we're all connected.
First off, I have an old school Sega Dreamcast, and here I have my Sony PlayStation.
All right.
And then how most of the games that me and Kevin play are through the Xbox.
Yes! Who just got ruled? I just rocked you!
Probably the best thing about that, is my stereo system. I have a full Dolby Digital stereo system. This is the satellite speakers for this round set. We can also snake cords underneath, and it's a multi-room receiver. So that way, if I'm watching a movie, Kevin can listen to music from my receiver, which is great. That's so lame.
What is lame?
You.
So, Kevin, I have a question.
Okay.
Do flowered curtains help you think of dark tips? They look really nice in here.
Yeah, they do.
Kevin just told me he was thinking about making play clothes out of those curtains with a sewing machine.
Those are your mother's curtains. She gave them to me. I was putting them up to be nice.
All lies. Do not listen to him. He's the dark tipper. Anyway, check out the coolest outtakes ever. I mean cool. From my visit to Kevin and Dan's house, including a step-by-step how to cook a burger the Dan the Fluffin's way. Yes, he really actually did that. Dan, no.
High five?
Dan. There's no ketchup on that or anything. It's disgusting. Get out of here. I'm done. Back to you guys.
Screensavers.com. And don't go anywhere, because if you do, you'll miss a veritable barrage of XP enhancements from Sarah. And still to come, can you play a DVD from a different country in your own DVD player? Find out, but first, Jessica, well, she's got a tip.
Dan, you're funny. You're dirty, but you're funny. The ultimate home theater question always is 2-ply or 3, because 1 just is out of the question, right? No, just kidding. It should be, should you use optical cable or coaxial? There's no definitive answer. They're both sending a digital signal, so it really won't matter. However, optical is more delicate but can be run longer without signal degradation. Coaxial takes more abuse and can't run as far. More screensavers coming up. Burger.
Sarah's here. She's got an outstanding download today.
It is outstanding, and it's timely because it is Space Week, and in honor of our beloved Space Week, I've decided we should see exactly what's going on the overhyped red planet. Don't you think? We've heard so much about it. What is going on there?
Yeah.
That's why you'll love today's free download. It's called Maestro. And if you at first look, I'm just here at the Maestro headquarters online. It's a scaled down version of the actual program NASA scientists are using to get images from Spirit and Opportunity in the future. It is really cool. Now, what it will come with when you download it, and be forewarned, it's a big program. If you don't have a nice, clean, souped-up system, it's going to crash on you. This has happened at my desk. This computer seems to be doing a little bit better. But once you've got it going, it'll come with a lot of images that it'll come sort of pre-built with a bunch of images from the actual test center when they were building these rovers, seeing what they're going on. But what I've done is actually downloaded some updates from Spirit itself. Spirit's actual images from Mars in 3D, mind you. I'm just going to pick the second update and say go. This is obviously Java code here. So what you'll get is this little Java window that you don't really care about, and then the actual program itself. And it also comes with this really nice, soothing music, because that's what they do on Mars, right? It's very calm and red and cold. Yeah. So anyway, the conductor's open, and I really like this window because it's telling me what I'm looking at. I'm no expert of the red planet. Guesses are most of us aren't. So it's saying,
that's the Joseph crater.
Yeah, and it's kind of giving us some background. So if I go next. Then things get a little bit crazier. Now it's explaining over here, like, here's some panorama stuff. We are looking at serious images here. I can zoom, I can flip things. Let me get a really good example of that. Like I said, it's a little slow. I'm clicking next, and it takes a second, and I get a fatal error.
Oh, man.
And I'm really mad now. Now I can get it back up pretty easily.
It's Jobber.
Like I said, it's not perfect. Make sure your system can handle it. Give me a second. Anyway, let's go back to this part. I hate it when this happens. Okay. Anyway, now you can use your conductor, as I was saying, or you can close it and you can navigate on your own. Let's say you're not really interested in all this background. You don't really care about what the scientists are doing. You can open it up this way and get your images all on your own. This is really fun. You can also, we don't have time to show you right now, but you can also program it sort of so that you can actually have the rover move as if you were controlling it on the red planet.
But you're not
itself.
really driving it.
You're not really doing anything to actual Spirit on Mars. They wouldn't allow us to have that opportunity. But you can pretend, you can kind of pretend, I mean, it's so big. It's so big.
It's really cool.
It's really cool.
It's in Java.
I wish it didn't crash, but now you actually know that's sort of the reality of it. It's a big clunky program. Patrick and I were talking about it earlier. But I really want you to play around with it because this is your opportunity to get scientific information that we've never had access to before, and it's free. It's absolutely free. Anyway, get it for yourself in my Download of the Day article at thescreensavers.com.
Thank you.
This is history in the making, guys.
That's really neat. Yeah.
Cool. And
We're really
hopefully Spirit will perk back up.
Yeah.
Come on,
well, you know
Spirit.
what?
Come back, Spirit.
Prager was telling me what's wrong. They've got a lot of corrupt data in the memory, in the RAM, and they're having trouble with the flash RAM, and it's crashing again and again. In fact, it rebooted like 143 times yesterday. They finally had it issued emergency instruction: don't reboot.
People are constantly asking me, Martin, what do you plan on doing after you die? And I always tell them, I don't know, because there are so many afterlife options available on the internet, it's super hard to decide. Now, if I'm on a budget when I die, I'll probably go with Celestis.com. For a mere $995, the good people at Celestis will take a gram of my cremated body and launch me into orbit. Ha ha! Take that, space tourist Dennis Tito! I just saved over $19 million! Maybe they could make a reality show about my ashes floating around space. Now, if I happen to get certified in scuba diving before I die, I very well may go with EternalReefs.com. Of course, check this out here. What Eternal Reefs does is, here we go. I'll let the woman explain it.
By integrating the remains into the concrete used to build artificial reefs, we seek to provide...
So what they do is take your remains and integrate them into that reef right there, and then the fish can swim around you and everything can grow on you. How much does that cost? $1,500 to $3,200. Now, if I'm feeling like a fancy boy at the time of my death, I'll probably go with LifeGem.com. Life Gems are pressed diamonds that are created out of my cremated body. Will people take me off when they wash dishes? I don't know. Life Gems turns this into this. The cost of a Life Gem, anywhere between $3,000 and $28,000. You know, being a precious stone is enticing, but what if I got pawned? And furthermore, what if someday they came up with a cure for deadly carpal tunnel syndrome and can revive my body? Maybe I should go with cryonics.org. There's the Cryonics Institute in beautiful Clinton Township, Michigan. And say hi to facilities manager Andy Zawacki. Here's the prep room. Why is there a scale in the prep room? Do I need to be of a certain weight to get frozen and stored here in this room for eternity? The cost of being cryogenically frozen, about $28,000. And finally, if I'm feeling a little mystical when I drop dead, I think I'll go with summum.org. They specialize in mummification. It was once a thing of kings and queens. Its mystery and intrigue still captivate us, and now we bring it back in new millennium glory. Here's a large dog being mummified, and here's a happy client with his mummified cat in a sarcophagus. Mummification starts at about $65,000, but think of how excited people would be if they dug you up in 10,000 years. You can get these links to all these different internet afterlife options at thescreensavers.com. Now, don't go anywhere, because Bill Dizell is back to show you how you can track your diet on your Palm, plus some other must-know Outlook tips for your Palm computer. And after the break, if you're using Windows XP or 2000, you're probably using your PC incorrectly and opening yourself up to disaster. We'll show you how to use your PC the right way when we come back.
He's the author of this book, The Art of Deception. You know him best as the reformed hacker who spent time in maximum security and made Free Kevin a household term on his release from prison 3 years ago. After serving a 5-year sentence, Kevin was barred from using the internet. That was the terms of his probation. For the first time in 8 years, Kevin Mitnick is finally going to be allowed back online, and it's going to happen today. Welcome, Kevin. It's good to have you on the show.
It's great to be here.
Wish my
I'm
publisher
excited.
had thought
I'm
about
very
something
excited.
like this to plug my book sales. Man.
Perfect timing, huh?
Man, wow. I have it here. This is a letter from the United States District Court U.S. Probation Office. Somebody tore this open.
I had to see what that was.
I think you were a little
I was
excited
bit
when this
worried,
came.
what could it be?
Let's just read it here. I'm going to cover up the phone number because we don't want anybody to call him. But this is from Gregory, your probation officer. The purpose of this letter is to inform you that as of January 20th, 2003. That's midnight this morning, right?
Correct.
You will have successfully completed your of federal supervision. No idea what that means. I wish you the best of luck in the future. That's nice. Very thoughtful. If I can be of any assistance, please feel free to contact me. And you called him, right?
Well, I called him this morning because I wanted to make absolutely sure
It's okay.
there's no surprises.
Now tell me the truth. 12:01, you got online, didn't you?
12:01, we were having a party in the hotel room.
You were celebrating?
And I had to get up very early this morning for a CNN, and it was like we stayed up to 1:30, and I had to get up at 4.
Has this been something you've been looking forward to?
Oh, of course. I mean, I've been missing out. The internet is kind of like having a telephone these days. It's so ubiquitous that to be without it,
Yeah.
it's like, I couldn't use an electronic toilet without getting permission of the U.S. government.
Right. They were afraid. Well, I know they were afraid. I don't think it's a joke in prison that you could use whistle tones into a phone and hack into systems.
Yeah, I was actually held in what they call the hole for 8 months because they had a fear that if I had access to a payphone in detention, that I could start a nuclear strike.
Now let's say this right up front: hacking is a crime. What you did was a crime.
Absolutely.
You did your time.
I'm sorry for what I did.
Yep.
And
you wouldn't encourage anybody to do that
no.
again.
No.
You know, sometimes I think every time we have you on, people I get letters saying, "Well, you're glorifying Kevin," and I want you to know, folks, Kevin's a great guy. We know, he's a friend of the show, but he's reformed. He's not still doing this stuff,
absolutely.
and he's not advocating. In fact, he's the best example
of why you shouldn't do it.
Why you shouldn't do
Exactly.
it. This guy did the time. But we're glad he's free. I think they overreacted in your case. That's why the Free Kevin movement was so big.
It was more that the punishment didn't fit the crime, being held for 4.5 years without a trial.
Without trial.
No bail hearing. And what's interesting, in today's New York Times, 2 federal appellate courts ruled that it was overbroad, impermissible to restrict somebody from using the internet as punishment.
And that's what they
the
did
day
to
I
you.
get off.
Yeah, right. A little late for you, maybe for the
Yeah.
future. Have you thought a lot about what you're going to do the first time? Now, remember, it's not just the surfing the web. You can't send email. You can't do anything, right?
Pretty much could not touch
BlackBerry? You couldn't have a BlackBerry?
No. And Darcy, my girlfriend, was kind enough to buy me a getting off probation gift, and it's a BlackBerry
You're gonna love that.
6710, I think it is.
You're going to love that. Have you thought a lot about what you're going to do?
Yes,
first?
a
lot of
for
lobbying.
The last year.
Darcy's been lobbying. I know that you go to her
lobbying very
site.
hard.
All right. Well, go ahead, ladies. And, well, wait a minute. No. Wait a minute. I just thought of something.
Okay.
It's been 8 years. A lot has changed. Maybe we should have some experts come in and fill you in a little bit on what you missed.
Give me some good ideas.
Yes. Let me introduce Emmanuel Goldstein. Emmanuel is the editor of 2600, the Hacker Quarterly. He is perhaps the best-known spokesman for the hacker community. Do you know each other?
Oh, very well.
right.
He actually helped start the Free Kevin movement.
All right,
He
there
was
you
the leader
go.
behind it.
So you got, and I see you brought some gifts.
Yeah, I brought this for myself, but you can have some champagne. It's,
Champagne!
we're
All right.
celebrating. And to show you that times have changed, there's a new book out now called Takedown.
Oh, no.
Takedown.
Not the Takedown that you're so familiar with. This is
That's
about,
a book about you.
No, that was another book.
This is
You
about
don't
the
want to read
mafia.
that book.
This is the mafia
This
book.
might be a more interesting book.
Yeah.
The other book you don't want to read is
Fall
the
of the
Markov
Last
book.
Mafia Empire. All right.
So the title has been reused.
That's very nice. All right, so some gifts. But that's not all. There's more.
Oh.
We've got John and Markov in the... No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to
You
you.
want to do a New York Times story?
Yes, I wouldn't do that to you. Emmanuel's going to advise you on one side, but on the other side, we thought we'd bring another friend of yours, a guy who's been on the show many times. Frankly, one of the guys who got the personal computer movement off the ground. Steve Wozniak is here. He's going to advise you on your angelic side. Steve, come on in. You brought gifts too.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you very
well
much.
deserved.
What, he brought you something?
And I believe you held out and didn't get on the internet.
Do you believe that?
This is for you.
Look at this
A little
drawing.
gift.
Who drew that? That's awesome.
I thought it up this morning, but our artist at the company drew it.
Look
I
at
can't
that.
draw.
At the new.
I hope you enjoy it, so don't disturb the picture. And I'm pro-choice, so if you prefer a PC over a Macintosh, Darcy, I'm sure can.
Is
help.
this the new? Is this the new PowerBook?
That's it's the current one being sold.
Oh boy,
It's a good one.
I'm gonna put this right here.
And to be fair, that's an Apple product.
Yeah.
Microsoft Office and some blank DVDs.
Oh, man, you are. That is a nice gift. All right. All right. Now, guys, a lot has happened since 1995. What browser were you using in 1995? Were you online?
I hope the browser still exists. It's Mosaic.
Oh, bad
And
news.
Lynx.
Bad news. Lynx is still around. I don't think you can still use Mosaic.
No.
I think there was this company called Netscape,
came out of that.
and then Netscape got bought by AOL, and then there's this guy named Bill Gates. You've heard of him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually met him.
Yeah?
I met him over at Comdex at the Mandalay Bay. They were having an after party, and I went up to him and I was shaking his hand. I go, "Hi, I'm Kevin Mitnick."
Did he know who you were?
Huh? And I go, Kevin Mitnick. He goes, oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah, he took off. No pictures. Well, is anything you would tell Kevin about what's happened over the last 8 years?
I mean, I really think it's a shame that they kept you from this important thing that was happening, the internet, when what you could do was so minor, especially if you were being watched or in prison or something, and you got to miss all the evolution of the internet and sites, important sites that came into our lives,
like
and some of them, and many that, yes, and went away, and
Napster's a really good example.
portals that came and went,
Yes.
and the advertising came, and it got more and more and more, and you're inundated with it everywhere you go, and pop-up ads and all that. You have missed out, and you're kind of like a virgin, and you're just going to go at it for the first time. Woo! You're going to be slow getting around, I presume, because you haven't been doing
I
this.
hope you guys will help.
Emmanuel Goldstein, what would you tell Kevin Mitnick? Any advice?
Don't be afraid by the advertising because it's everywhere. Everywhere you go, you're going to see an advertisement or pornography or an advertisement for
How do I block
pornography.
the
Or,
ads?
well, there are ways. There's a group of people that are dedicated to blocking advertising wherever you go. So we'll show you that as well.
How about hackers? Should he be worrying about hackers?
I don't think he should be
Do
worrying
you
about
think
that.
he's trying to hack my system?
People are you kidding? He's going to be a major target, don't you think?
What's your
Everyone
website?
www.waz.org.
All right, Waz, what's the first site he should go to? What do you think is the first thing he should do on the internet?
After Waz.org, listen, the internet has just exploded with the amount of information you can get on anything you think of. You can type in, and sometimes you get results, and go to google.com.
Google, I heard of
Number
Google.
one.
What was the big search engine in 1995? Was it Yahoo? Yahoo wasn't even around.
No,
was it
Yahoo
around?
wasn't around.
What did he use? Lycos? What did you use?
Yahoo was around.
Was Yahoo around? Just beginning.
Not in 95. Not
Just
when
beginning.
Not by the time.
Emmanuel Goldstein, what's the first site he should go to?
Well, I'd like him to go to 2600.com, but I think Google is a good choice
Google's a
because
good choice.
you can type virtually anything into Google and you'll find
it.
It's a line of dialogue in an obscure movie or something like that.
It's amazing.
It's
I
a
wonder
great
if I type
tool.
in my name if I'll see anything.
I bet you will.
I think you
I type in Leo's
You've
name.
never done a vanity search.
No.
Here's a guy who's never done a search on his own name. Patrick, you got any ideas for maybe where Kevin Mitnick should go?
I was going to say downloads.com because I actually found NCSA Mosaic version 3.0, which doesn't really run well.
That'll make him feel right at home. Hey, what do you think, Yoshi? Kevin, where do you think he should go? First site Kevin Mitnick ever goes to.
I'm going to say Slashdot, probably.
Slashdot. What do you think, Yoshi? You
I was
agree?
going to say Google, but you should also try Yoshi.us.
Yeah, there you go. How about you guys in the audience? Where should he go? Let's hear it. Where's the first place Kevin Mitnick should go? Screensavers.com. All right, we got a lot of choices. Kevin Mitnick, it's yours to choose. Your first access to the internet, live, national television. You pick where you want to go.
Okay, I'm going to do that, but I never sent an email yet.
You never sent an email?
Never sent an email, and I got to tell you a little story. Is back in March of 2000, I was testifying before Congress with Frank Thompson and Joseph Lieberman, and we had this dialogue, and Lieberman suggested I should become an attorney. And then I told him, well, there's a little problem. I have a conviction on my record, a felony conviction, and they might not allow me to be a member of the bar. So I asked Lieberman, I said, maybe one day you'll be in a position to grant me a pardon. And I just found out he's running for president.
So you're going to send him an email?
Send him an email.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear first. Kevin Mitnick's first internet act, an email to Joseph Lieberman asking for a pardon. And we're going to check back and see what site you're going to go. Is it going to be Darcy's site?
It's going to be Darcy's site.
Labmistress.com. You got the plug-in. You told the Times you had to do it. Guys, thank you so much. You could continue to advise Mr. Mitnick on something that's completely unfamiliar to him. We'll check back again a little bit later on, see how you're doing. And we will put a list of bookmarks, all the places Kevin visits over the next 45 minutes. Bookmark, Control-D everything, okay, Kevin?
Okay.
And we will put a bookmark. Let's see it here. He's going to go Sony style. Now, Sony, did they pay you some money for that? You better get
It's a Sony Vaio. What can I
it's a Sony
say?
Vaio.
Let me
All right,
stop
we'll
this.
check back in just a little bit, and of course, we'll have his bookmarks at thescreensavers.com. Everybody will be looking to see.
There
where
we go,
you
the
went.
first one.
All right, is it coming
coming
up?
up, I hope.
Stay put, folks. I'll help you with your basic computer problems. Boot camp's coming up a little later. And up next, Morgan and Kat give us an inside scoop at this year's Super Bowl. Right after this Windows tip from Megan. Come on, Darcy. Come on, Darcy. Come on, Darcy. It's down. This first thing.
If you want to get any of Microsoft Windows properties, usually just right-click on an icon and choose Properties. Here's a shortcut for you. Hit Alt and Enter. There you go. We'll be right back to see where Kevin goes.
As any true geek knows CES was the place for consumer electronics this year. And the Screensavers crew made sure that we didn't miss a thing on the showroom floor. But while Leo and Pat were doing their thing, Kat and I tore it up our way. Check out some highlights from one heck of a trip. I put mine in my little Microsoft thingy from last night. I was just wearing it around my neck. And my cell phone charger. I need a string. I need a string. I don't have a string. String. They are consumers and they like electronics. They're here for the show. Yes, Ashley? Alright. I'm still working on the graceful limousine exit.
Some fruit, and I don't usually eat this healthy, but everything over there looks disgusting. Big fat cheese.
And they won a $50 gift ticket from Circuit City. I don't have two of those up here so you guys can hold them up because they're kind of cool.
Are these on yet? Right now we're going to play a game called Who is the Fastest? We want to see who can program gadgets.
Gadgets are supposed to be getting more intuitive. You guys are supposed to be getting smarter. So I hear, I'm just going to see if I can give him a wet willy and try and distract him a little bit.
No, you stay away. Get out of here.
How about if you just give wet willies instead of...
No wet willy! Thank God for the hand sanitizer.
See, I signed my forehead for you. Yeah, whose show do you like better?
I like Chris
Come on.
a lot.
Yeah.
I like Leo a lot too.
Web. Here, you can actually touch us.
Okay.
Big heart for you. Very hot.
So we've done our show, we've signed some autographs. Now let's go check out what's going on the CES floor.
They've let us out of the cage. Excuse me, ma'am, can I ask you a question? No, she doesn't want to talk to me. You got that for free? Yes, I'm not sure from who, but it's an electronic violin.
Why do I think this is not ecologically sound what we're doing here?
But it feels so neat.
The newest thing to hit is CD shredding.
Right in the slot.
I have to say that you are very beautiful. You have that sort of 50s charm.
She knows it too, look. Why is it so satisfying?
What is that?
Whoa, that's kind of trippy.
Tell me, what's your favorite consumer electronics product at the show?
That's fascinating. Show me with your hands how big it is.
What is it about bad techno music that's going to make me want to buy a television? I got $5 on SpongeBob. $5 on SpongeBob.
Why don't you hop in and drive me around, will you?
Yeah.
I wish they left the keys in it. Check out that TV. That's probably the biggest TV I've ever seen in my life. I wonder how big it is compared to me. Honk it. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you.
Doesn't work when the car's off.
This is the Panasonic television.
Does anybody have the big Nokia phones anymore? Aren't we all going to get the smaller ones?
Yeah, that's a good point.
People have these phones? Don't you think it's a horrible travesty that there are no chairs for you to sit on?
Yes. Very, very, very bad.
Can I have one of your French fries?
Very bad.
Are you excited to eat that?
Yeah, I've not yet tried. I don't know.
Can I have one of your fries?
Yeah.
Have you eaten any of the food here yet?
No, I ate it last year. It was horrible last year. I don't expect it to be any better this
I
year.
have one piece of advice for you.
Sure.
Don't eat the pizza.
Just stay away from the pizza.
I'm not very good at this.
Well, that was fun.
I'm tired all over again. Now, we also got a chance to meet some very cool people at CES, one of which was the insatiable skater and tech guru, Tony Hawk. You're going to have to check out the show tomorrow to find out his screen name and phone number, that is, if I feel like sharing. And, of course, you can always catch more from me and my raven-haired partner in crime at CES, screensavers.com. Watch it all over again. Rewind, 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 watch. Okay.
Tony Hawk is like, what, 37?
He's 39, actually.
He is amazing. I was watching him skate, and it was kind of just like, I got chills just watching him skate. He's a great skater. They built a ramp on the...
And he's a billionaire. Morgan.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was your raven-haired partner in crime.
Uh-oh. She's got two.
Oh, no.
She's got two. Uh-oh. Is Kat really raven-haired? Let's call
right
her...
now she is.
Oh, right now. For the moment. There he is. He's gone to his first site, labmistress.com. Finally came up, right?
Finally came up.
So now you're
going to my
surfing.
second website, Trigger Street, Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. Let's give Kevin Spacey a little plug. And by the way, Woz was right. We just checked. We went to akabono.stanford.edu. Remember that address? The first address of Yahoo. And they did start in '94. They went online.
Part of Netscape. Yeah, it was just a search engine of Netscape.
Akabono.stanford. It's fun to do this in Mosaic 3.0. Oh, you got to do HTTP. Oh, it's .edu. Anyway, while we're doing this, let's talk about the Super Bowl. You know, Sunday's a big day, and as you may know, tickets for the general public to the Super Bowl 37 are no longer available. However, it's sold out. However, Kat and Morgan have just arrived in San Diego, and they are in search of tickets live via satellite from Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. Kat and Morgan, how you doing?
Hey!
You guys having fun there with Kevin Mitnick?
Yeah. Did you guys get tickets, more importantly?
Ha! At about $3,000 a piece.
Oh, dear.
I don't know how that's going to go. Yeah.
You can expense that, no problem, right, Paul? Yeah, she says just...
That sounds good.
So what's going on?
The tickets. Okay, well, we've seen some tickets being sold on eBay for about $3,000. But you better be careful that they're not counterfeit, all right? And you can do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of protection on the tickets. Now, first of all, they have holograms on the front and back. There's also embossing. The Lombardi Trophy is raised, and it has flashing birds and sand going on behind it. It's going to be a little bit hard to counterfeit that.
I know, and they also have thermographic printing on it. So right at the bottoms near the main symbol, if you wipe your finger over some blue lines, it disappears and comes back in a couple of minutes. Hey, Yoshi, I want to see you pull that off with your printer.
Just call me if you do, okay?
Yeah, good luck.
Now, I know the Super Bowl is a whole week away, but these guys have been setting up for weeks. It takes a lot of infrastructure, cabling, you don't even know, to get the Super Bowl live with commentary, not only to the United States, but over 70 countries worldwide. So we're going to be taking a look at that later in the week.
And tomorrow, you guys are going to get to see some interviews that we did with a bunch of Raiders about the kind of tech gadgets they use. They showed us some very interesting little gadgets.
They all carry a lot of gadgets, and we get to check out the blimp, and Kat's going to try and convince someone to let her drop a watermelon off of it.
Yeah, we're actually going to fly up in the blimp, and I want to drop a watermelon. I don't know if it's going to happen. Oh, you've done that.
The tech of dropping a watermelon.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
just no frozen turkeys.
We're having a good time.
All right.
Do you see how nice it is here? I mean, this
It's
is
beautiful. Quick question. You guys, I don't see you wearing silver and black. Raiders or Bucks? Who are you rooting for?
Raiders all the way. Now they are favored by 3 or 4 points.
After Sunday, I should think so. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great time down there.
Oh, we will.
We'll see you
Just
guys
yesterday
tomorrow.
they were at CES. It seems like now they're at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we're having fun.
Yeah, they have a good job. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
How many DVDs do you guys own? Just out of curiosity.
I'm not a big. I have maybe a dozen or so. I don't buy movies. I rent them because I figure I don't want to watch them more than
I have about 20 or 30.
Oh, okay.
I went out of town this weekend. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could take my laptop and take all my DVDs and put them on my laptop, and then when I want to watch them,
that's handy.
fire it up and I'm good to go.
Yes.
Or, of course, back them up in case, like, you have kids that you're always complaining about damaging your discs and things like that. Wouldn't it be cool to have a nice little backup so they don't damage those discs and
Wish
things
I
like
had
that?
backed up Shrek.
Well, I'm going to show you how to easily do it completely free. Step 1 is to make sure you have a DVD-ROM drive. Standard little DVD-ROM drive. If you don't have one, $30 at CompUSA. Install one, put the DVD in, and we're going to move on to Step 2. That's easy stuff. Step 2 is to download and install DVD Decryptor. Take a look at this. This is an application called DVD Decryptor, completely free. We fire it up. It's going to analyze the media that's in the drive. Right now I have a Pirates of the Caribbean in there. And there are all the encrypted VOD files showing up on the right-hand side there. Those are VOD files, or video object files. That's the movie. Those are the raw files. That's the data right there. All we have to do is click this button in the center here, and that's going to start copying all the files, decrypt them, and store them on the hard drive. And once they're, I'll show you here. I'll exit out here. I've already kind of done it, cooking show style. So we go to my C drive, and we go into Pirates of the Caribbean, and you'll notice that here's all the files. These are all the VOD files and whatnot, and they're all decrypted. Now, you could launch Power DVD. You could launch any one of your DVD players right now and play them directly off the hard drive. So if you want a pure, complete, 100% digital backup, you would just go straight to this and start to play them. Now, step 3 is to download and install DVD Shrink. DVD Shrink is going to take the uncompressed VOD files and shrink them down to fit on a single DVD dash or plus R disc. Now, you would think, you have a blank DVD-R, you have a DVD, you should be able to do a one-to-one copy. But most DVDs that you buy at the store, they're recorded on dual-layered discs. That's discs that hold 2 layers of information, or around 9 gigabytes in capacity. Well, the DVD burners that you buy at your local CompUSA, they only burn on 1 layer and hold about 4.7 gigabytes of data. So obviously you can't fit that complete movie on a one-to-one disc. So this is another application I'm going to show you here called DVD Shrink. Let me fire it up here. Second free application, super easy to use. All we choose now is Open Files. So now we're going to go to our destination here and click OK. And what it's going to do is it's going to inspect all those files. Let me send this one more time out here. You should have it now. There we go. Okay, so take a look at this here. And what it's going to do is it's going to inspect all those files. And here is everything that's listed. Here you see we have the AC3 audio. We have the director's comments. We can take out this information here if we want to save some space. And if you take a look here at this little tiny grayed out area here, that's the compression that we're using. So you can see it's compressing it by 60.4%. And this green bar at the top here, that is 1 DVD. So if you scroll all the way to the right here, you can see that's going to fit on 1 DVD or a little over 4 gigs of information there. So we can go on the left-hand side here, and we can click on Main Movie, and then click on the different tracks in the movie. Click on Play in this little window here, and we can see the different scenes of the movie. We can take out scenes. We can rearrange scenes. We can delete some of the extras. Here's some of the different extra information. If we don't want any of the French captions, we can remove that to save some space. So you get to play with the little slider here. You can choose automatic compression, where it automatically chooses the best compression for you, or you can choose on custom ratio right here. And this is where you can play with it to fit it on different size media. If you have blank CDRs or whatever you're trying to fit it on, you can squeeze it down right here. And you can compress each scene differently. Now, all you have to do is click on the backup button at the top here once you've played around with this, or you can just stick with the standard defaults. And you'll see that here's my blank DVD-R drive. And we're going to make it completely region-free so we can play it anywhere just by checking that box. Click OK, and it backs up the DVD. That's all there is to it. Writes the information right to a disk. If you want to download DVD Decryptor or DVD Shrink, they are 100% free, and you can find them in my article at thescreensavers.com. And if you have any more dark tip ideas, email them to me, kevin@techtv.com.
Very handy.
Pretty cool stuff.
I do the same thing on the Mac. There's a program called DVD Backup. In fact, I had Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and I see you have that too.
Yes, I love Monty Python. One of my
funny.
all-time favorites.
I got the deluxe edition as a 2-disc. It's great, and I wanted to put it on there so I could take it on my next road trip, so I don't have to bring the DVD. I can watch it off the hard drive.
And it worked great?
It works great.
Awesome.
It's amazing. It's a really great thing
Cool
to
stuff.
do. Thank you very much, Dark Tipper. It's a job hazard. Both of us have to go both ways, frankly, but for a long time I've been telling Patrick, once you go Mac, you'll never go back, and finally he decided to try the big switch.
Sure. I've had my problems with PCs. So Leo says, Patrick, you should be on the Mac. Of course, Leo tells everybody they should be on the Mac because, it's this and it's that and it's better than sliced bread. So anyway, we got into a bet. The idea is I'd try this whole Apple Switch thing. We get me an iBook and away I go. I spent the last 2 months living on the Mac. The Switch might not be as easy as some people would think. So what I'm going to tell you, after 2 months of playing around with this beast, is what you should know before you think about making a switch.
He's the where they found that
Ellen
music.
Fleiss of Tech TV, Patrick Norton. All right, let's talk about it. The Switch. It's been amazing to see you use this thing for a couple of months.
It's been amusing. A lot of people. There's been a thread on the website that's like, Pat was given a Mac by Apple. He's been turned.
No. First of all, they didn't give this to you.
Yes.
It's a loaner, and it's
Got
going
it on
back.
a loan.
The other thing I want to show you is, you have the messiest Windows desktop I've ever seen. This is very un-Macish. You've got all your icons.
But you know what?
This. What a mess.
What a lot of people don't realize is I was a full-on Mac bigot.
You started as a Mac guy.
From 1990 to 1995. That's
Okay.
how I ended up
basically getting inside to understanding computers and getting really irritated. I used to know every piece of shareware on the planet. I remember Windows Mines.
Yeah.
You remember Nicest Style Writer.
But I have to say, when Windows 95 came out, that was really the first time Windows was as good as a Mac.
And you know what? All of a sudden, my Duo 280 was at the end of its life, and PCs
Windows
were
time,
looking
baby.
cheap and easy to use. Plus, I started working at Windows PC Mag or Windows Magazine, so it was kind of complicated.
So what are the issues for you with switching? How was that?
I got to be honest with you. There's 3 things I ran up against. The first one I'm going to show you right now is
launch a browser.
I got to thank Megan Maroney for pointing this out, that I was not mad and that I was not insane, but that Internet Explorer Mac 5.2
4
is a 5. It is a ridiculously sad
6 seconds to load that. And we're on a T1, by the way. We're on a very fast connection, so it's not the bandwidth.
Let me see if I can get off road, but it is amazing. You can be sitting here. I went from a 200 megahertz Pentium 2 system, the second one was a 300 megahertz Pentium 2 system, and it was unbelievably painful. So she said, get Chimera.
Chimera is a lot better. It's Mozilla-based. And now Safari, which is even faster than
first
either
version
of
of
them.
Safari was a little tough. But what's nice, it was one of the biggest things I ran into, is you have this beautiful operating system, this incredibly robust system, these amazing applications. iMovie, great. iTunes, great. iPhoto,
and they come with it. They're free.
And they come with it. They're free. They're in there. They run. They match. They're similar. Once you figure out stuff in one, you start to figure out them in the rest. And then you have this pig dog browser. So I'm glad Apple is working their little tuckuses off to bring Safari and make it run well.
They had to. And as much of a Mac bigot as I am, that is really painful. And when you go back to Windows, you see how fast that browser is compared to even Safari on OS X.
Second thing I ran into, about a month into it, I started to really understand why Mac people are always whining about everything being designed for Windows. You think I'm kidding?
Because it is.
It is. And, first painful thing, iNews, Avid iNews, which is our primary production tool for creating the rundowns that run our live television shows.
Scripts, everything's in there.
Windows NT.
Yeah.
Windows 95.
Will not run on a Mac.
Will not run on a Mac.
Now, we can use the corporate email, Lotus Notes, just fine.
You've
had a little trouble, but
getting the notebook to log into the networks, for some reason, Leo's, I've set up notes on every notebook I've owned in like 6 years of working on and off for TechTV and Ziff Davis, 7.5 years, and I'm having some issues.
Well, but you're underscoring what is absolutely true, which is if you have to use certain Windows applications, you may not have an alternative. You might have to use Windows.
And the other thing is as we can point out, Leo owns a 2.4 gigahertz Pentium 4 system.
And I use it for certain things I can't. Yeah.
Unreal Tournament 2000.
That's mainly what I use it for.
Literally, what else do you use it for?
It's a gaming platform.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're a serious gamer, you're going to want to really, really, really think twice before you consider switching to any kind of a Mac.
Unless your game is chess or solitaire.
In which case, there are some extraordinary chess. There's a chess program right in there that
built in.
It's very good time I play it.
It's the GNU chess, actually.
One last thing, and it's like, this was a painful thing. I think a 12-inch G4-based titanium notebook would make a huge difference. The processor on this 867 megahertz G3 processor, it's time.
I have a 600 megahertz G3.
I mean,
it's slow.
When you realize that they are now, rather than increasing the processor speed, doubling the number of processors inside their high-end desktop systems, this is a sign. I think, I could be wrong, Steve. Give me a call. I'm here for you, man. I'm listening. But it's time to let go of the Power PC, and it's time to move on to something else.
Best thing they could do is go Hammer right now, go Athlon. If they could make Hammer hardware with OS X, wouldn't you agree? That's going to be a kick-butt system.
And it's amazing. Roughly closing in on 3 months of use. It's actually over 2 months. It's almost 3 months. I think it might have kind of crashed once in the first few days, but it turns out I'm pretty sure now that was actually Internet Explorer 5.2 swallowing its own tail for like the 9th time in the first day I had it. It literally hasn't crashed. The battery life is excellent. And it's just, it's a really elegant platform. And the confabulator you showed earlier this week, there's a tremendous amount of manipulation. Because it has a BSD core, because they've done some nice things in designing the interface, there's some incredible stuff you can do to the system once you start tweaking it.
Something that's come to me, and it's only recently it's come to me, Windows is designed for people who want to use a computer. This is designed for people who want to be able to change, modify, program their computer. It comes with Perl, Python, scripting, the shell script, Apple script, which is incredibly powerful, and a great development environment. You're going to start seeing a lot more applications on the OS X just because it comes with all this capability. It's a lot harder to program Windows.
I'll be honest with you. If I can figure out a way, if I can maybe get a faster G4 and figure out how to run virtual PC so I can have iNews, it would give Windows XP a huge run for the money, especially if they can bring the price down.
You're going to trade it in? Going back to the,
it's
going back to the PC.
It would be nice to be able to run iNews from home. That's one other thing. Again, problems with Mac versus PC.
It's okay.
We can't use, for reasons nobody can find out, we can't use a virtual private
VPN
network
does not work with this?
on the Macintosh.
It works with most people's VPNs, I should say. Built into OS X is a very
However,
good VPN client, but it doesn't work with
our
ours.
particular work one. I had some work issues. That was my biggest problem with some of the applications at work.
But that will happen. If you're a realtor, there's no MLS, you're going to have these issues.
And there's something I noticed. There's a lot of mythology built around the Mac. Some of it's true. Some of it's completely bogus. It won't work with my ISP. It's because your ISP can't figure out how to punch in some numbers in here. There's a lot of stuff. You know what? There is Roman Loyola, our faithful and hardworking web editor, who hates me because I dumped 3,500 words.
It's a good article, though.
We have a ton of how-tos,
Wonderful.
FAQs, stuff you run into, myths that should be broken. Me talking about some of my interesting experiences with the operating system. Go to thescreensavers.com, check out the article. And you know what? See what you think.
Lost him yet, kids. We may be able to pull this one out.
You're running on both platforms.
I'd use both. We got to use both. And by the way, Steve,
video editing.
One word, Steve. Hammer, baby, hammer. Stay put. Did you know what you can fax from your computer if you've got Windows XP? It has built-in fax software. Morgan will discover it for us. And up next, he hacked your favorite spelling toy of the '80s, and now he's hacking Chatty Cathy. Right, that's coming up right after this quick Windows tip from Megan.
Ooh, that's disturbing. If you'd like to display all your folders in the same way, you can do it easily with just a few clicks. From Windows Explorer, click on Tools, then Folder Options, and then View, and then just click this button, Apply to all folders. Stay where you are. We'll be right back.
The RSA Security Conference going on all this week in San Francisco. I always say this is my favorite week on the Screensavers because RSA brings amazing, interesting folks into our backyard. Two of them are here right now. Greg Hoagland and Gary McGraw just co-wrote a great new book called Exploiting Software, How to Break Code. They join us now to talk about what's in the book. It's great to have you, Greg and Gary. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Gary says it's okay that I wrote this because my last book was Building Secure Software.
That's right. Don't be afraid. The antidote exists.
So you kind of have either end of the book yet. One of the things you do in this book, which I think is a great idea, is you talk about attack patterns at a higher level. So you can kind of understand the gist of the attack, and then you do the specifics of the attack. Can we talk about some different commonly used attack patterns?
Sure.
Give me an example.
A good example is make the client invisible.
Make the client invisible. What does that mean?
Security sometimes is implemented in the client.
I'll give, as an example, you have a web server and Netscape or Internet Explorer as the client, right?
Yeah, and in the web browser, there would be something to prevent you from inserting more than, say, 10 characters.
So it protects the server from doing something stupid.
Supposedly, the server trusts the client to help you out. But if you're an evil bad guy, you can write an evil bad guy client.
Or you don't use a client at all. You just use direct access.
So it's a mistake, and I bet a common mistake for programmers to make when they're writing servers, to assume that they're only going to get certain kinds of input from the client.
Yes, definitely.
The buffer overflow attacks, is that a common example?
That's probably the most common type of attack.
And we've seen, that's one of the things we see all the time.
Yeah. We're really tired of talking about buffer.
Yeah, buffer overflows are old.
Old hat. All right, well, what's new? Give me another example.
Another example is putting some extra things in the input that may be a little piece of code, like a script.
Right.
So you give the thing some input, it has a script in it that gets run, and
that's called what, shell injection or code injection?
Script injection.
Script injection.
Yeah, confusing parsing code is another thing.
What's confusing parsing?
Well, you have a parser. What it's doing is reading the input and deciding to run certain commands that are fundamentally capable of being run, but you get them to run when they're not supposed to.
So it sounds like a lot of what the process of being a hacker is trying stuff, kind of banging on software until it breaks, right?
Well, that's one method, but one of the nice things about our book is that we cover how to break software by looking at the binary and reverse engineering it.
Now, this is an interesting issue. Microsoft recently had a big leak where a lot of the NT source code was leaked out, but you guys said, who cares?
Right.
We
You
don't
got
need
all the codes on your box already.
Yep.
So you're saying the source, just for people who aren't programmers, the source code is what the programmer is typing, the high-level language with comments and variables using names. It kind of makes sense. And almost if your programmer reads like a book, you can actually read it and see what's going on.
A pretty boring book.
A boring book, but a book. And then it's compiled. It's run through software to turn it into the machine code. The machine reads. That's where the binary is. You're saying you can look at the binary and it's like reading the book?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And there are special
Wait
tools.
a minute.
There are tools for looking at it, too.
Okay.
So,
So what's the process?
The structure is there. The source code's one way to look at the structure.
Do you use a
the binary is
disassembler,
another
a
way.
decompiler?
Yeah,
Use a decompiler.
disassemblers.
He likes a decompiler.
It's the
Use a
same
disassembler.
Well,
it basically takes the machine code and turns it into something more human readable, right?
Yeah, so IDA
Definitely.
Pro is a good one.
IDA Pro is probably one of the most popular disassemblers.
A lot of hackers do this?
Oh, yeah. That's how they find ODE.
What's ODE?
ODE is a vulnerability that hasn't been reported to Microsoft that works against Microsoft targets. There's probably close to 100 ODE in circulation in Computer Underground right now.
Well, wait, whoa. Microsoft doesn't...
They know about a lot of them. They get reported. They get silently fixed. They don't tell anybody about it. But the fact is that there are exploits out there that are not reported to any of the vendors that do work. And this is something a lot of
Hackers
people
know
don't
these?
realize. Oh, yes, absolutely.
The hacking community spreads it around?
Oh, yes.
Currency.
Yeah, there's a little underground of people.
Oh, yeah,
that
you
do
go in
that.
the chat room and say, hey, I got an ODE.
It's like
I'll trade you
trading
this one for that
baseball
one.
cards. Yeah.
Wow. And yet, I mean, okay, we know about all this. I mean, it's not like the whole world is crumbling. I don't feel like I'm under attack all the time, or am I?
Well, they like to go after people that have stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not under attack. But if you're a target, should you be worried?
if you're a common user of the internet, you're probably not going to be a specific target. The only thing you have to
Worms
worry
go
about,
after
worms
you.
would be the only thing you really have to worry
Yeah,
about.
like viruses.
And those are typically found on common operating systems like Microsoft.
Right.
So
Linux and Mac users, they're
Less
sitting
likely.
back saying, hey, I don't have to worry about worms. Are they safer?
they're not safer from the threat. Their software is the same as all software. It can be exploited.
Yep.
So there's ODEs for Linux, there's ODEs for...
Yeah, but think about it. If you're going to invest a great deal of your time as a hacker to find an ODE, you're not going to pick Joe's web server. You're going to pick Microsoft's web server.
Right, got it.
Go after IIS.
So one method of attack is banging on it, brute force in effect, trying stuff till it breaks. Another method is getting the source, not the source code, getting the binary code, the actual program.
Code,
which you have because you're running it on your
You're
box.
running it, disassembling it, looking at it, figuring out where the holes are. Now that's a pretty skilled hacker that can do that, right?
Yeah, it takes some skill.
That's no script kiddie.
No script
No.
kiddie. In
How
fact,
many-
this book is not a script kiddie book.
This is not. This is. But now, how many people of that caliber are there? Would you guess?
There's a number of people who can do it.
Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
That are that good.
Yeah.
They could take the Windows source, not source again, binary, the kernel 32.dll, look at it and say, "Oh, I see a problem."
Leo,
right
it's
there."
not actually that hard. It just takes some training
Right.
to learn how to do it. And
Well,
that's
your
what the book
mind
talks
and
about.
eye has to be trained to see
Yeah.
those patterns.
The human brain is the best pattern matching system we
But
have.
people are good at that, naturally.
Microsoft security expert yesterday, speaking in England, said, well, we believe that most hackers figure out how to break our code by looking at our patches. They disassemble the patches and say, oh, I see what it's fixing. True? False?
That does occur, but that's not the source of all exploits.
But it is. Now, he said, well, his assertion was, that's how all exploits are discovered.
Absolutely
He says,
false.
we don't see
right.
He said,
Yeah.
I can only think of one case where a hole has been exploited before we've released a patch.
He doesn't have any idea of all the zero data that are against his operating system right now.
Yeah, that would be wrong.
Should we be afraid? We're real users, normal users. Should we be terrified?
No.
No.
Why not?
Well, because you don't really have something valuable that people are after.
So if I'm running a bank, should I be terrified?
You should be terrified.
You should spend lots of money on this problem.
Is it fixable?
Yeah, there's lots of things you can do. I actually think Microsoft's doing something great with .NET and C# and this strongly typed language.
So the language that's being used is very important to writing good code?
It sure is.
Yes.
It's really hard to write a buffer overflow in a type-safe language like
Java or C#.
Yeah.
I was asking Greg and Gary before the segment, I said, if I were a young programmer starting out, what language should I learn now? And you said C#.
Yeah, C#'s great.
And I said Java.
That's just because you wrote a book in Java.
No,
All right,
no.
real quickly, Gary's going to show us.
Because Microsoft didn't make Java.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, well, that's my problem with C#. Fine, but except that it's Microsoft, all right, you know. But that's all right.
That's a
fine.
religious difference.
It's a religious difference. Greg is going to show us. Now, when you're going to come back, Greg, and show us what a rootkit is.
I'd love to come back to your show and show you what
Briefly, actually, you're going to install. You did install one on our system.
Yep.
Briefly speaking, once people use these techniques to break the code, they will then put on the cracked system something called a rootkit. What does that do?
Well, if you invest all the time and you risk getting into a system, you want to keep your access. You don't just want to, unless you're just going to take something and leave, you want to have...
No, you want to put it back, in effect, put it back door.
Have you heard people say, own the box?
Yeah.
This is what it means.
So show us briefly. You put a rootkit on here. This is running right now in my processes. I can see that you've got something nasty, some malware running, this Tech Notepad, right?
Well, actually, this Tech Notepad, I just made a copy of Notepad and renamed it with this prefix Tech.
But we'll presume that that's bad stuff.
You presume it's a bad program that is running that I want to hide.
Okay.
Now, the rootkit's been installed, and what it will do is when it's loaded as a device driver. It'll patch the kernel and make this go out of the process list.
And it's not only invisible there, but it's invisible to intrusion detection systems, antiviruses, any kind of software to protect you.
In just a minute, it'll be invisible.
Let's make it invisible.
All right, let's make it invisible.
He's going to use the rootkit. If you get he's typing net_start_tech.
That's the name of the rootkit.
That's the rootkit.
And
there it's
there
gone.
it goes.
And it's not just invisible there. It's invisible everywhere in the system.
Everyone who's asking the kernel to tell it what processes are running.
The kernel says you see nothing.
But you have owned this box because now the hacker can see it at any time.
And then we can stop it again. And it comes back.
Come back, Greg, and show us a rootkit. Show us an install. You wrote one just for us. Isn't that nice?
The TechTV rootkit.
We'll be distributing that online a little later on. Greg Hoagland, Gary McGraw. The book is Exploiting Software, How to Break Code. If you are a hacker, or more importantly, if you're protecting yourself against hackers, it's obviously a must-read. We do have an excerpt online at thescreensavers.com.
TechTV. New things turn us on.